Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. Us. We're putting it together, okay? Stephanie Schrage in studio. Challenge Unlimited. Did I spell Challenge Unlimited right?
I think so.
This was on the fly. Did I spell Stephanie right?
Yeah, you
Look
did.
at that. I had like 10 seconds to adapt here. You know,
You're
live
good.
show here.
You're good.
Hardly.
Well, it's a Monday morning, okay? Everybody gets some breaks on Monday morning.
It's a Monday after the expo,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm still kind of dragging a little bit, but this is really cool. So Direct Support Professionals Recognition Week is this week?
It is. I told you the last time I was here that I would be back when I had something, to share that was worthy.
Please do, yeah.
We've got a lot going on at Challenge right now, so I figured this was a good time. This week we are doing Direct Support Professional Recognition Week. So basically DSPs, if you're not familiar with the profession, these are the care workers for all of our individuals with disabilities, from our skills training centers and our community day programs all the way to our Scylla homes and our residential options program. Wow. So I know the last time we were here, that was kind of a shocker to you that we even had those programs. Right. So, again, 23 Scylla homes over, Madison and St. Clair County. So, a lot of DSPs that are doing a lot of the work day in, day out. Some of these places we have, 24-hour care that's required. And so, we have to be staffed overnight, midnights, everything. And these people just do amazing work. It's kind of a profession where there's a high turnover a lot of times,
sure.
because there's a compassion fatigue element to it.
I'm sure.
We've got some DSPs that have been with us for 20 plus years. I mean, that's a long time to be doing this work. So we're just really proud of the people that work for us. And
well, it seems like one of those things, Stephanie, where, this is... I feel like this is a role that is so crucial yet so underappreciated, because, unless you're really in there every day and I hate to say it, but almost, rolling the sleeves up and doing the true day-to-day of somebody that's really in need. I couldn't imagine the strain on the mental side of things and the strain that it causes on other factors. To have individuals dedicating their lives basically to folks is pretty amazing.
They do. They really do. And it's more than just, the care they provide too. There are, physical limitations that obviously they have to help people with those kind of things. But, these people, when you've been a DSP in a home working with a resident for 15 or 20 years, you're family to them.
That's what I was going to get at, where
Yeah.
it's not even a branch of the family. It's just you're a part of the family.
They look forward to seeing you every day. They rely on them for a lot of, they learn a lot of things from them. It's more than just care. Like I say, it's teaching them how to manage their money. It's, self-care and health and nutrition and those kind of things. So you're right. It's kind of an underappreciated position, but they really do good work.
Amazing work. And it's one of those where I think you definitely have to be born with it in your heart to really be successful in it. And I'm sure that the connection that they have with their carees are just, unmatched too. I'm sure if you walk in there, it's really like you wouldn't think it's any other house, just a home with a family,
Absolutely. We've got some of these people, when you hear them tell the stories about their clients and how much they mean to them, they've got the personal connection to these people too. We've had, residents who, will pass because they've lived in the homes for a long time, and just those kind of things happen. It really affects these DSPs. It's like their family too on that side. So,
well, and really, you sent me something, and I was going through it earlier this morning, and I went, the thing that kind of sticks out to me is the heart and soul of care, because it's really, to me, a powerful thing. Because a lot of times when I think of care, I think of, maybe a hospice or an end of a life thing, but rarely do I think about this perspective to where there's a number of individuals that truly need the care, the help, the guidance, the advocacy, and the fact that Challenge Unlimited has all of that for them is pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's our wraparound services, I really believe, kind of set us apart from a lot of other organizations, for sure.
What do you think is the most crucial role in their job?
Honestly, it is that reliable and dependable part of their everyday duties that really just makes the difference for the individual. When you have, again, it's a position where there's a lot of turnover. So if you have an individual that's suffering from an intellectual disability, and even if it's developmental or whatever the case may be, they don't necessarily trust a new person coming in trying to help them all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot of time and commitment to build that relationship. So,
well, it was a perfect segue because I was going to ask you that exact question: is how is that transitionary period for somebody that does leave the position because they just needed to, maybe to step away or just get away for a while? I mean, that's got to be very hard on a lot of those carries.
Oh, it is. It is. You can see it when, you know, I mean, when they may not remember everything, or they may not have, you know, high functioning, relationships with them, but they do know their name. They know their face. That's something that brings them comfort.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and, you know, I'm sure, you know, how long have you been with Challenge now?
It's just over a year.
That's what I thought. I was like, are we at the year point yet?
Yep.
In the last year, have you been able to kind of have conversations with some of these DSPs, or just, you know, kind of observe and see really just how valuable or invaluable they are?
I have. You know, that was part of why I wanted to really promote it this year. When I started, it was July of last year. So when we did DSP Week last year, this is something that Challenge has done every year for decades.
That's incredible. That's
good. We really spend some time recognizing these individuals for this week. Obviously, they deserve it all year, and we do our best to treat them as well as we can. But, you know, this is kind of a special situation. So last year, I didn't really have a full understanding of the scope of everything we do. Mm-hmm. But this year, I had some time to sit down with our program managers and some of the DSPs. And last year, I did get to attend. We do an annual DSP of the Year award.
Do you really? That's really cool.
So last year, I was able to attend that, and just listening to the speech from the award winner was just, I mean, I was in tears.
You know I'm emotional. I'm an Italian. You know, I'd be crying, you know?
I was.
Well, and to me, I just think if you're not in that position, you truly don't know how important it is. You know, unless you're the, you know, family of somebody that needs, unfortunately, a little bit more around-the-clock supervision or care, or even if you're just someone who is a DSP, unless you're in the driver's seat, you really don't know. I mean, I can talk about it in the microphone, but you have to really live it to understand it.
It's interesting you bring up the families, because the DSP of the Year award is made possible by a family who we took care of her sister. Her mom and dad, her family does it in memory of her parents, who were big advocates for disability in the 50s and 60s, you know, getting education systems in place because there just weren't any.
Talk about being progressive back then.
So, yeah, they were definitely ahead of their time. And the family has stuck with us, and they like to recognize that the stuff that I sent you, that is Sandy Curran.
Okay.
She is the daughter of the Bakers. That's the award foundation that provides that for the DSP of the Year. So, you know, it's amazing that, you know, and when you hear her speak about it, you know, to say, this is coming from the family member who knows these individuals are taking care of my sister, and it really means a lot to her. And she knows that it can be a difficult job.
This is just incredible. Hey, do you have a minute to stick? I got to pay a bill.
Yeah.
1022.
Whatever you got to do.
1022, I got to pay one bill. Our conversation with Challenge Unlimited, we're talking about DSP Recognition Week and what Challenge Unlimited is doing to recognize that. We'll come back with more of our conversation next.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial Campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
With over over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nacella on RiverBender.com.
Did you finally get the chance to dance along the light of day? Head back to the Milky Way. Tell me, Venus, blow your mind. Was it everything you wanted?
Sorry, we're just cooling off in here. 10:25 the time on a Monday in downtown Alton, RiverBender.com, our daily show. You know, we're keeping our conversation going with Stephanie and Challenge Unlimited. Little bit warmer in here. Temperature's starting to rise early in the morning.
Yeah, it is.
But I want to just circle back to DSP Recognition Week and the events you guys have lined up. What is Challenge Unlimited doing to recognize them and keep their mission going too?
Absolutely. So we have events planned at all of our skills training centers in Swansea and Alton. All week long, we're serving lunch to the individuals. We're doing breakfast one
Really
day.
cool.
We've got swag and gifts and gift cards and things of that nature for them. We're doing the same thing with our residential options homes. I know that our vice president, unfortunately, our vice president of residential was not able to join me today because
That's
she is
okay.
busy with the events.
Oh, well then rightfully so. I was going to blame you, but that, rightfully so.
Yeah, she's out there doing her job.
Got a great team.
Yeah, bless her heart. She's hitting the streets. So visiting the homes, same thing, gifts, lunches. We have an actual award ceremony and luncheon planned on Wednesday at Julia's Banquet Center.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to have that catered. All of our, DSPs will be in attendance. Again, door prizes, gift cards. We'll do the award ceremony. It'll be a great time. And we had actually got some great community support for that this year, so I wouldn't be right if I didn't pitch to our sponsors. They really were able to come through. The community supported us, and so we're able to really reward these people.
Well,
so.
and two, those things go a long way. I used to think, in high school when they do like Teachers Appreciation Week, I'm like, what's that do for somebody? But especially in the role of being a DSP or direct support professional, those little things have to add up to something.
Absolutely. You got to say, like, it's constantly work. They're constantly working. When I made a Labor Day post last week, I was like, you know what? They're in the homes.
Yeah.
They're working today while everybody else gets the day off. So
Yeah.
it's nice that we can do something for them, to really highlight them this week.
Well, and one thing that you posted too on cuinc.org is remembering September the 11th, and something I have never in my life thought of, and I mean this is the title is a spotlight on disability, but just talking to you in the commercial break, whether or not it was one of the most tragic days in American history, if it was a wildfire or any other natural disaster or national tragedy. To go through one of those with having a disability, being blind, being deaf, take me through this and take me through this blog.
Well, absolutely. We think about accessibility issues all the time. We are familiar with the ADA Act.
Yep.
We know that we're trying to make things more accessible for people, who are disabled in any form. But, we don't think about it in the sense that what if those, exits and entrances collapse? And you can't get a wheelchair out. I was reading a story yesterday about some EMTs that they had a special wheelchair that was built like a sled to get people out of this building. And, not to mention when you think about the way that we disperse information, right? Individuals who are blind or deaf or, have those kind of challenges. We didn't think about captions. Think about the media that you work in every day.
Yeah.
If we're putting out news to warn people that there's a problem and we don't make it accessible, they can't know. Can you imagine the fear?
Yeah.
It was something that when I thought about September 11th, what do I want to say about it? Because it's tragic. It's something we do have to acknowledge, especially with the military work that we do and the respect we have for first responders. They provide all kinds of services to us as an organization, but when you think about, those people in New York City that maybe were struggling with these things, if we keep that in mind, then again, when there is, like you say, a wildfire, an earthquake, there's an earthquake in Morocco recently.
A nasty one,
Yeah. So it's just something to really, hopefully, drive us to create a more inclusive society.
Well, we talked about the access to emergency services, but one thing I wanted to kind of go into a little bit more was, I might be reaching here a little bit, but we're talking PTSD and emotional impact, Stephanie. For me, just not an expert in this, but for somebody that's has developmental disabilities or has issues regardless of being blind, you just have something.
Right.
My thought is, what happens to the individual that, has an intellectual disability or has something like that? They lose a parent, they lose the guardian in their life in September 11th. They don't know what's going on. How do you react to that? How do you, try to relay the message to them that this is how this happened? And, you can't even wrap your head around it. So how are they? And that's kind of my thought.
It's interesting you bring that up, because what we do at Challenge, is try to secure people before that kind of thing happens. So, that's something to, really a lot of parents come to us and it's eventually I won't be here.
Oh.
They know that they aren't going to be there to take care of somebody all the time. They want them to be able to be as independent as possible and to be in an environment where they can trust the people around them. So, it's a really important part of what we do is planning those kind of things. And I cannot, it happens all the time that people just don't think about it. And then these individuals are kind of,
I don't know how you have that conversation. I really don't. Again, you have to, at Challenge Unlimited, you have people that love and live what you guys preach and your mission. And I think that's why you guys are so successful. It's just, because I couldn't. Yeah. There's no way that I'm emotionally unstable as it is. I couldn't have that talk.
Our intake director has been with us for 20 years, and she has a lot of these conversations, and I respect her, tremendously, because I don't even know if I could do it. Working in the marketing segment, I get emotional just hearing the stories and trying to retell them.
Yeah.
Let alone, being the person that is having those conversations with parents or caretakers,
Yeah. I couldn't imagine. And I could talk to you about this actually for 4 hours because this is so fascinating, but I know that you're busy. Is there anything else you need to fill us in on before I let you go?
I'll go ahead and just tell you outright, we are excited to say we are sponsoring, the Mississippi Earthtones Festival this weekend.
Yeah.
We are sponsoring the ASL interpreter for the main act, Jake's
Really
Leg.
cool.
So that, speaking of accessibility, Sarah came to me, I'm involved with Main Street anyway. She came to me and said, we needed to do this. And I said, let me see what I can do. And, everybody was in agreement that it's a perfect fit for what, we do at Challenge to be able to support that and make it accessible.
Well, and again, Challenge Unlimited is practicing what you guys preach each and every day. I love the fact that you aren't an organization that puts out a press release and says, here's things that you should do. Here's what we're doing and, all of that good stuff. I think it's really important.
That's not a style of leadership I would want to be a part of. I can tell you that much.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, with that being said, Stephanie, I always appreciate your time. If you have any other things like this, we could do a whole show just on this blog post alone, I'm sure. You're more than welcome back at any time.
Well, we've got National Disability Employment Awareness Month in October, so you'll probably see me real soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got to talk about that. It is 10:32. With that being said, we'll talk again soon. Awesome. And you and I will talk again after a quick break. Jerseyville Police, they join us next.